Yes, people. Welcome back. Episode 10. Back joined by Dave. Dave, welcome back, man. How you doing?
Yeah, good to be here. Good to be back with you guys. Had to shoot you guys a little DM yesterday, say let's get it going, man.
Yeah, man. Good to have you back, Callum. How's things going, man?
Yeah, bro. A lot better after yesterday. Nice to be back to winning ways.
Yeah. Do you know what? Yeah. Just talking on that game. Obviously, let's not beat around the bush now. Yeah. It wasn't a good performance. First half, dog shit all over the park. Nonsense. Yeah. Højbjerg was running around doing God knows what. And Ndombele, I don't know what he was on. Lo Celso, I don't know what he was on. Sanchez was donking around all over the pitch like he always does. I think the only two people that really had a great game was Tanganga and Lucas. And then, I mean, what was your guys' thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I think you pretty much summed it up, innit? Moura and Tanganga had great games. I think we even said last time Dave was on, and we've been saying all season, Tanganga deserves a place in that squad. There's so much players that they don't play for the badge necessarily. Give the youth a try and they put everything on the line. You see with Tanganga blocking everything constantly. Great game from him. Moura, Ash's boy, he's been our saviour for the last few weeks. Plays with a lot of passion. Constantly good on the ball. He finally looks Brazilian again. Because I ain't seen the Brazilian side of him since Ajax. So he's been very impressive. But like you said, other than that, wasn't necessarily a great performance. But listen, we've been starved of a win for the last week or so I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I think I concur. I mean, Lo Celso was the disappointment for me. Højbjerg is tired. Højbjerg looks tired. He's been playing tired. He's had to carry that defensive midfield role for a while now. So, okay, cool. You know, he was a bit sloppy. But with Højbjerg, I always feel like he can turn it on in the game. You know, have a rough 10 minutes, but he'll be back in. You know, he'll make a couple good interceptions and you know, he gives the kind of energy to the team. But Lo Celso, I don't know what he was doing. He was drifting. I think he had like 2 minutes to start where it looked like, okay, cool, this formation or this kind of lineup might work. But he was ineffective. He was pretty much ineffective. Disappointing, and I'm glad that Jose actually noticed that and made a change, because usually, you know, we have to wait till, you know, 75 minutes, 80 minutes to see some sort of change, and it's usually the wrong one. So it was good to see that. But my man, Japhet Tanganga, that's it, man.
What a guy, man. What a guy. You know, he got himself into some tough situations, but then, you know, he fought his way out. Like, big performance from him, man. I think that's a big kind of, not a massive statement, but it's just like, you know, showing Jose that, for me, in my eyes, he's better than the other guys. But I think for me, like, first half, I was just sat there ripping my hair out. I was like, what on earth is this? We had centre backs who not really confident playing the ball out, right? So we had our midfielders, kind of dropping in, almost kind of sitting in as like a, you know, coming in to pick up the ball. But then the problem is when the because we only had two midfielders, it was almost like, I thought sometimes we were playing like a 4-4-2 / 4-1-3-1 almost at times. And then it was just like, when the midfielders are coming back to get the ball, it leaves such a space between the line of the ball and the forwards. And it's so hard to get that ball to them when you've got so many Villa players in the mix. So I just felt like first half, it wasn't going anywhere. No one was trying to drive from the midfield to the forwards. I think we kind of didn't get to see the best of Lo Celso, because that's usually what he's good at in terms of carrying the ball. So he wasn't great, but I don't think he was played in a position where you're going to see the best of him, to be fair. So I will cut him a bit of slack on that. But that was just the first half. It was stale, nothing created. I think it was a lot of sideward movement. I mean, I got to say, Reguilón was getting toasted, absolutely toasted.
Yeah,
I don't know what was going on there. Like,
he looked like he had some of that West Ham lasagna.
Bro, honestly, it reminded me of Matt Doherty's first half performance against Arsenal. He was getting toasted, but do you know what? We managed to keep the ball away from that side for too long. I mean, they had a little bit of joy, but luckily not too much. And I thought, the only reason why we scored that goal, let's be honest, is because of Lucas's pressing. Otherwise, there was no way we were scoring in that half. I didn't see us coming anywhere near. Good play from him, and then good link up with Kane. Good pull. I thought he was going to go for goal. Yeah. Good pull back, and good goal from Vinicius. But then the way I saw it, second half. I mean, nothing really changed. Nothing really kind of changed for me until we scored the second goal. From then onwards, it was what I want to see. It was dominance. I think we dominated for at least 25 to 30 minutes of that second half, especially towards the end. We didn't look. You know how we normally look when we're 2-0 up? We look like we're on the ropes. I don't think we was on the ropes at all in that second half. Second half, much better, controlled the midfield. And Ndombele had a much better second half than he did first. I thought he was terrible first half. And yeah, I mean, Vinicius, I was criticized. Do you know, I think I've been a bit harsh on him. I think I've been a bit harsh on Vinicius. I don't think he had a great game, but it's difficult. He hasn't started many games. He's coming into the Premier League. He's played Europa League. It's difficult for him to find that rhythm. I thought he could have done certain things better, but we got to appreciate what he did in our box defending.
Yeah,
I think those are the.
I don't think he necessarily had a great game, but it was good to see him get on the score sheet. I see Sky Sports criticising him for his celebration, but most Tottenham fans know the reasoning behind it. It's for his mum. Also, he scored his first Premier League goal, set up by his brethren Lucas. Criticising him for scoring a goal, that was strange to me, innit? It's nice to see him happy. I don't know if you might have seen that interview that he done with Lucas.
Yeah.
When he delved into his past and whatnot, and he's a real likeable guy.
Oh yeah, so they posted that today, didn't they?
No, I'm talking about the one they did a few months ago when they was at a Brazilian restaurant.
Oh no, but the Spurs Twitter posted it today.
Oh, what they reposted?
They put it again, yeah.
Yeah, I think they might have reposted it just to let people know, like, this is like just, and you know what, like it's common news now. So like, I don't really want to hear people, mocking him because it's not nice, is it?
Yeah, I think the reality with Vinicius, when he starts, he scores. It's like, I think 9 starts, 9 goals. So yes, he hasn't started like big games as well, but he's definitely got something there, and we've been crying out for something different. But something different that's of quality. We used to have the giraffe up top, Fernando Llorente, and he was different, but he wasn't necessarily quality. Do you know what I mean? And give him credit. Obviously, he got that hip goal, against Man City. In the Champions League run, but like to actually have a player who looks like he wants to get involved, he wants to get stuck in. And I think I tweeted it yesterday. When he figures out the physicality of the league, he will be a problem. Yeah. I mean, I still feel like he needs to have a bit more, on his frame to kind of handle some of the rough and tumble. But what it did do is because he was taking those hits, Kane wasn't. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Kane wasn't getting wiped out by, those 2 big centre defenders that Villa have, or, he wasn't really getting on the end of some of those bad kind of tackles or whatever that we see him do. So that kind of freed Kane up, I think. And yeah, I like what Vinny's doing, and I like what he looks like. I like what he's bringing to the team. And like I said, when he starts, he scores. So yeah, let's see what happens in the summer with his deal and beyond.
I don't think he's necessarily worth 36 million. If Daniel Levy can lower that to the 17 or whatever is being reported, then I'm more than happy with that. But the thing is, if we don't buy him, then it's back to the drawing board again. Again, we're looking for a new striker. We've got someone right now who's slowly fitting into the squad. He's got their chemistry there with Lucas and a couple of other players. And like you say, he scores goals when he starts. Then they're not the biggest games, granted, but you give him game time in Europa League. First start in the Premier League, and he's scoring goals. So for me, if we don't buy him and then we go back to searching for a striker, who are we going to get realistically? Levy's not going to splash out 40 plus million on a quality striker like a Martinez or an Ings unless we get rid of Kane. So for me, I'm saying he just works hard to try and lower that price down, and I'll happily have him again next season.
Yeah, do you know what? Like when I'm thinking about next season, I just like, for me, like I said, I've said this before. I just feel he needs a lot of coaching because he used to be a centre back 2 years ago, right? He used to be a centre back, and he's converted into a striker. And I've said this: he's got all the attributes to be a great striker, right? All the attributes. He's got one. He's got a good finish as well. Don't underestimate that left foot of his. He just needs coaching. I mean, I remember there was a time in the game, Bergwijn got the ball on the left wing. Vinicius was kind of making a run to the near post, and I thought Bergwijn was kind of about to slide him in, put a through ball in, but then he kind of changed his run and then just moved towards the back post, but then had a defender covering him. So I feel certain things like that he needs to kind of understand when to run near post, when to go far post. But that stuff comes with coaching, especially if you haven't been a striker for long.
Yeah, you look at his goal. When they showed it from the angle behind the goal, you can see him do that peel off. Do you know what I mean? He peeled off Kane or whoever was coming through the middle. That's good striker movement that you want in the box. I mean, that's knowing which post to head towards to create that extra bit of space. So yeah, let's keep him. Let's see how he develops. You know, if we're keeping hold of Kane for another couple of seasons, then he's going to be learning off one of the best strikers in the world and one of the best strikers we've seen in this league. Do you know what I mean?
That's true.
We know how much Kane works on his game. Every season he's adding stuff to his game, his movement, his finishing, all these things. He's going to see it live and direct. Do you know what I mean? Maybe it's not even the case of someone to come in to help out when Kane's injured or when Kane misses games, but actually maybe looking at it in 2-3 years. Do we want someone who can maybe come in and score 15 goals in the league?
Yeah, and I mean, this is a good point by Nathan Turner. He said he's a different style. I mean, obviously, Kane's kind of playing a bit of a false nine role right now. You can kind of say that. Obviously, Vinicius is not that guy. He's just, for me, number 9. So yeah, we'd have to set up differently. The counter-attack thing probably won't work. Obviously, we don't have that kind of link-up play, but that's the thing. When you got these players, you got to find different avenues, and that all stems from work you do on the training ground. Which, for me, I don't think we do enough of it attacking-wise, because so many games, it's just like it just looks like we're still like it almost looks like when we're not looking for the counter-attack, it looks like the players are baffled as how do they create an avenue for attack.
Yeah.
When they know when to counter, everyone's sharp, quick, no more than 2 touches on the ball, move the ball quickly. But when we're in possession and we're trying to break teams down, we just look lost, man. Absolutely lost.
I do agree with this comment as well. I feel like Vinicius does all his work in the box, obviously very different to Kane. Kane's everywhere on the pitch. For me, I always wanted a backup striker to be completely different to Kane. Ideally, I wanted a fast striker. So someone that when Kane's not there, we can just play long balls, counter-attacking football and have him as that man to chase them. Vinicius is not that guy, but he's deadly in the box, good finisher, so can't really complain.
Yeah, and I think we got to appreciate the work he did as well, defending, because he put in work, closing down. He played a high energy, high press. I liked it. I thought there's a lot of room for improvement, but the signs were definitely good. You can tell he was playing to try and impress the manager, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, man, he's got it, and I think we should stick with him. He's a different type of player. If I'm coaching that situation, I'm saying, right, get the ball wide and get it into the box for like Reguilon. You know how Reguilon, when he's on song, Reguilon's a great crosser of the ball with both feet, different angles. And I think his goal is indicative of that. The goal that Vinny scored. Moura bursts into the box with a bit of interplay, gets to the byline, and then drags it back. And here we are. Do you know what I mean? It's a simple tapping. And most of the goals that Vinny scored have been in that kind of range. I don't think he scored from outside the box. Any of his goals. So they've been instinctive. There's been quick movement. And I'm not saying he is like this player I'm going to mention, but I remember a few years ago when Chicharito and Javier Hernandez, when he was available, I was like, we should go with him because his movement in the box. I remember when we played them at Wembley in the Champions League. I think it was, where did he go? He went to Leverkusen, didn't he?
Yeah.
And I remember, they beat us 3-1 or something like 3-0. And I know it's quite easy to make errors.
I remember that. I was at that game at Wembley. I was there.
But his movement in the box was ridiculous. I don't think he even scored, but he was pulling our centre backs all over the place. Just quick step here, a bit like how Defoe was for us. When Defoe was in his prime. So, like I said, those are the kind of players that I'm saying to Vinny, look, go watch that, go sit down, watch those tapes, work with Kane, work with this person, and let's see how you can finish it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And really build on what his start, which has been good.
And do you know what? So what were you going to say, mate?
I just want to say, before we move on, I feel like it is good having that sort of striker that plays in the box. But when Kane drops deeper, it's nice for him to have someone above him who can finish in the box, rather than him dropping deeper and there's no one to meet the end of the crosses.
Yeah, and do you know, like, another player that kind of it's worrying me a bit lately is Højbjerg, man. Like, I don't know what's going on with him, because yesterday he was shocking. Do you know what? He grew into the game to the latter end, to the latter stages of the second half. He was doing well. I thought he grew into the game, but like the last month, I'd say probably about 6 weeks, he's been missing. And my biggest problem with him is he's trying to do too much. He's running all over the place. He's getting dragged out wide. He's just moving out of position all the time. And I think the tiredness in him is causing him to make mistakes, such as giving the ball away all the time, not thinking straight. I think I think this international break is come at a good time. I just hope he doesn't play too much, but he needs rest, man. He needs rest. He doesn't look sharp at all.
Well, what frustrated me yesterday is I don't know if it's tiredness, I'm assuming it is, because he started every Premier League game he played, and I think he's played 90 minutes in every game. But he just looked very uncoordinated. I'm seeing man just swinging his leg at challenges, and especially the first half, very, very poor in the first half. I think Mourinho come out and said at the end of the game he was one of the standout players. Don't know what game Jose was watching. Like I said, he grew into the game, definitely. I'm not going to pile too much criticism on him because he's been one of our better players this season. Like you say, maybe it's tiredness and he just needs that international break. I don't want to see a lot of our players play during international breaks.
Yeah, I've noticed with Højbjerg, if you notice the past 6 weeks, when he's had a bad game, it's the games where he's playing pretty much on our defenders' toes. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like with him, yes, he is a defensive-minded midfielder, but if he can be 5 or 10 yards higher up the pitch, if we could be a bit more aggressive in the front press and then also our defenders stepping up a bit, I think he does well with that, because then he's picking off interceptions. That's when he's cleaning up mistakes and whatnot. You can't allow him to be your actual shield because he's not quick enough. He's not actually quick.
I remember
you and stuff like that. So if we're back against the wall, he can get popped around a bit like in the Arsenal game. Like, was it Odegaard and
he was all over the place.
They were just going, okay, sorry, mate. We'll just, because it's quick movements in those kind of tight spaces. He doesn't have that. So we need to be aware of that. And it also makes a difference if Ndombele is having a bad game or an indifferent game defensively. That also affects things. But when both of them click and they're on song, like we saw some parts of the second half, obviously Ndombele had that run in the first half, which it ended in a bad pass. But obviously we know the talent that both of them have got. So we have bigger problems in the team. We have bigger problems in the team.
100%. We're going to come
on to it. When you're looking at it and you're going, right, Oliver Skip, are you ready?
Yeah, and this is my problem, right? Every time we play a two-man midfield with Højbjerg and Ndombele, it just doesn't work. Like the times when we played 3 at the back, right? I remember Wolves away. Was it Wolves away or was it Sheffield? I think it might have been Wolves. But every time we just play with just 2 of them in the midfield with no one else, it just doesn't work because they get overpowered. They're just trying to. Ndombele can't do that much defensive work, so I think Ndombele needs to be in a midfield where it's free, and then they just get outstretched, and they get outplayed by almost any top 10 team right now in the midfield if it's just 2 of them. So I mean, yeah, we did win the game, but I don't want to see that set up again. I don't know about you guys.
What I do want to say about Ndombele is he plays a lot deeper. Obviously, he's not a number 10. He plays in the 8th position quite deep, so people get onto him for not getting enough assists or getting enough goals. But when you look at the work that he does in the midfield, occasionally winning the ball back, very good in tight spaces, playing them passes to break through the lines, very good at what he does in that aspect. But you see how we praise Kane for playing 2 positions, essentially, a 10 and a 9. It's like Ndombele gets criticised for not playing an 8 and a 10. he can't. I feel like he does need that player ahead of him who, once he fires the ball to them a bit higher.
Yep, that's what I'm saying. They need to play. They need to play him, because for me, I don't think he can play as the most forward, the most advanced midfielder. They need to have somebody there. So whether it's Lucas, if he's trying to play that role, but obviously Lucas was out wide, there needs to be someone there. That whole 2 midfielders and then 2 strikers ahead, it's not going to work. Like, it worked against Villa, but it's not going to work in the long run. But I mean, it's good to see him change things. It was good to see. It was good to see the usual guys drop. It was good to see Joe Rodon. Do you know what I thought? I thought he had a good game. I don't think he looked. I don't think he looked uncomposed. Like, Sanchez was all over the place, clowning around like normal. That guy's an absolute idiot. I don't know. Do you know what? Right, I'm really starting to question Ledley King, and this is not even a joke now. Like, these defenders are not a shadow of what he was. Like, I don't know what he's working with them on training, because I just don't see any improvement. And I remember I was watching the game purposely without the fan noise, and I could see Jose he was basically saying to defense, like, you're stuck on your feet, like, you're not getting out there. Like, there was times that Villa were coming into our box and they were just like kind of staying on their feet, blocking the lines. They weren't pushing out like you should be. But I thought Rodon, he held himself. I thought he held it down. But he needs to be partnered with. He needs to be partnered with Toby Alderweireld, not that clown. No.
Yeah, and I think our defenders, our centre backs, play best when they're with Toby. Right, all of them. Okay, even Mr. Eric. Right, he looks better when he's next to Toby. Sanchez looks better when he's next to Toby, but they're still rubbish. Like, Sanchez is still a hit and miss player as a defender. I don't like his affinity for the shoulder barge. I feel like when he first came to us, his first season, he was really solid. But after that, all of a sudden, he's always trying to shoulder barge people. He's always trying to do the phicality thing.
I like, even in the game, even yesterday. Do you remember he had that challenge with, I can't remember who it was. He just pushed him. It's like, what, you're giving a dangerous free kick away for no reason. The guy was going nowhere.
Yeah, and I'm like, it's things like that just frustrate me. I'm like, come on, bruv, like, you got to learn. Do you know what I mean? Aurier does the same thing. Do you know what I mean? Aurier would do. It's just like, really, there.
Yeah, Aurier is the same. He's the same. Brash, doesn't think.
Yeah.
It's just idiotic, and it just happens way too often for me, and I'm sick and tired of it. I'm like, and this is a good point. Toby and Rodon will complement each other, definitely. I think. Sorry,
I feel like seeing. I prefer to see Tanganga at centre back, but our right backs are poor in it. So I'm happy to see back forwards, Tanganga right back, Toby and Rodon playing centre back together. Because Sanchez is not good enough. He had like 3 or 4 instances yesterday where Tanganga bailed him out of trouble. Like especially in the first half, a few big mistakes, letting defenders getting behind, just completely out of position. And how you say about, I don't really know what they're working on defensively, because they don't defend as a unit.
No, not at all. Not at all. And you know what? I understand the fact that sometimes you're playing different centre backs. They don't have time to gel, but I don't see anything. And I've got to look at Ledley King. And I'm sorry, some fans might not like to hear it, but who else is sorting out this defence? It's got to be him. And we got to understand.
It's a bit harsh. I don't know if he can do much with some of them players, man.
Yeah, I won't criticise Ledley.
2 years ago, we knew.
No. But this is what I'm saying, right? We can't just say that because it's Ledley King. We need to see results. Football is a results-based business, and it's a business where you have to win, right?
Yeah.
So as much as I love him for the whole sentimental aspect, at the end of the day, I'm not seeing any improvement in our defense, and it is worrying.
The only thing, though, at one point we did have the best defense, or one of the best defenses in the league. Do you know what I mean? And there have been 4 or 5 game stretches where that
was fraudulent.
And I'm just saying, if we're going on stats and results and that, at one point we were looking there. But I think, like I said, 2 years ago we knew that Sanchez, Dyer would need to get moved on. Obviously, we haven't done that. We haven't invested the way that we should have done. And it's one of them situations now where you're working with limited talent, and there's always an error in them. But like I said, I feel like, and this is kind of, touching on like last week's games, you can only make one change in that back line.
Yeah.
Like you can't have Sanchez and Dyer. You're just asking for trouble. You need to, if you're gonna have Sanchez, you need to have Toby. I think Joe Rodon did well. I was concerned before the game because I didn't think he was enough of a leader to control a Sanchez or to cover for that. But Japhet stepped in and did what he needed to do.
I think I wasn't kind of criticizing Ledley's in terms of, because of Sanchez being Sanchez, but I think it's just more of the defense as a unit, like how on song they are. I don't see it, but it needs to improve, man. It needs to improve.
I agree with this as well. Toby is by far our best centre back, but he is getting on now. So the centre back that we replace him needs to be similar in terms of a class defender, intelligent, reads the game well, and a leader. For me, we don't have enough leaders in our team. And I think that's where we struggled a lot this season, especially the game on Thursday. Was getting outplayed by a Croatian team going into the game with a 2-0 lead, and there's not enough players there shouting at each other to tell each other pull their socks off. For me, that's embarrassing. Not leaders in this squad.
No, there isn't, and there's a few players for me that lead by example. Yeah, Højbjerg is one. Toby is another. Højbjerg, Toby, Son, Kane, even Lucas. Like his attitude is second to none, man. Like, did you see his comments today?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he's the kind of guy that people need to look at. I mean, we sit here and say that there's a lot of bad apples in the squad, right? But we got to remember this guy was pretty much put out of the team, right? Didn't really start any games at the start of the season. I think Bergwijn started like the first 16, right? He puts his head down, right? Doesn't moan, doesn't do these stupid things on social media, like, for example, Dele Alli does, like taking selfies. Do you know what I mean? You know what he's trying to do. He's trying to put a message out there, innit? Lucas doesn't do any of that. Yeah,
he doesn't moan. He puts his head down. He doesn't complain. He just gets on it.
Doesn't complain. He puts his head down,
and he finds a place in the team
and he takes his chances. And he sets an example for so many other people, so many other players in his team. Now, I've got to say, we'll talk about one more sort of negative point before we go into the more sort of positive stuff. Listen, Sissoko, I do not ever want to see that guy play for my club again. Axe him from the squad. Did you see that clip?
Yeah,
did you see that? I take it you all saw Tanganga, yeah?
Yeah.
This is the difference. Do you know what? People laugh, yeah? But it's these little things that make a difference, because tomorrow that could happen and it could go in and it could have flown past Sissoko.
What frustrates me is Jose clearly brings him on towards the end of games that he doesn't start to, shore up the team in a sense, a more defensive player to replace Tongi or whoever. The man comes on, we saw it against Man City, we saw it again yesterday. The man comes on, walks around the pitch aimlessly, no intensity, shit positioning. And that shot was going in. Tanganga's blocked it. Sissoko's just walking around the box, no idea what he's doing. But he was meant to come in and help us see the game out. Rubbish.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done with him. He had a bit of a renaissance, but I'm done. I think with him, my frustrating thing is when we saw it last week in the Winks and Sissoko, the Europa game.
Oh my God.
Where like Winks would get on the ball, and even, I'm not a big fan of Winks, but whatever, innit? He'll get on the ball, and Sissoko, against a team who is pressing in the midfield, he would run towards him to collect the ball. I'm like, bruv, are you not thinking? Like, you're bringing defenders to the space, and then Winks gets scared, doesn't know what to do, can't play that pass, so it's going backwards, whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's so frustrating to see that. And then, like I said, defensively, he's not offer nothing. Yes, we pick him, or he gets put in because he's strong. He's supposed to be a unit. But his feet are all over the place. His positioning is not great. And we need to move on. Even if it is you're getting a player who is going to sit on your bench. Do you know what I mean? And be that guy to come in for 30 minutes or to run a Europa League game.
He's too much of a liability, man. Like I was saying this yesterday, I was saying when you need a midfielder to come on and do a job for the last 20 minutes, he's not that guy. And Do you know what? One thing that we always used to say he was good at, he had good athleticism that used to kind of help him a bit. And that's what made him kind of a good player, right? He used to put himself about, make himself a nuisance. I feel that he's lost that. I feel he's lost his pace. And when you've lost that, if you've got no footballing ability, you're just absolutely useless. Useless. Like, I worry that we are not going to be able to sell him, because who the hell is going to want to buy that guy? He's on 80 grand a week. You got to remember that as well.
I'm hoping French league, 10, 15 mil.
French league or Turkey.
But who's going to pay him 80 grand a week? I just look at just look at him. He looks like Bergwijn's on 25, right? He should be on similar.
The reality of a lot of these players is, if and when we do sell them, they have to take a pay cut. They have to swallow their pride and have to take that. But you see what you're saying about Sissoko's not that guy to come off the bench and shore up games. Oliver Skipp is that guy. I personally don't think he's ready to start Premier League games, especially not week in, week out. But the times that he has come on the last 10 minutes of games, he does look defensively intelligent, doesn't do stupidness, always involved, part on the line. He's that guy to come off the bench and help us secure a win.
It'll be interesting, because I think I've watched Oliver Skipp a few times this season. He's identical to Højbjerg, but I mean, it's hard to gauge from the Championship, but he looks slightly better on the ball than Højbjerg is.
I agree.
It's interesting.
More intelligent passing. I do like the look of Oliver Skipp, but again, he's playing in a Norwich side that's very dominant in that league, so we can't get overly enthusiastic about his performances, you know.
I wasn't a big fan of him when he first came into our side. I thought he didn't do anything for me.
Yeah, I would say
the past 18 months, I've seen a different side, and I'm like, actually, I love the fact he's got a bit of bite in his tackle. Do you know what I mean? That's what I like about Højbjerg. You know, he's one of the ones where if you were playing against him, you would hate it. So even if you know you're better than him, you know you can skill him up or whatever, but you know there's going to be that one tackle where you just look at him and just go, oh, man.
And the thing is, when I've been watching him, he puts himself about. Like, he makes himself known. Like us Norwich fans, he completely dominates that midfield in a lot of games. Like, I just hope he can bring that to the Premier League. Obviously, it's a different step up, but the signs are good. The energy is good. Obviously, he wants to play for this club. You know, this is his boyhood club. So, listen, forget about loaning him out next season. No. We need him in. Listen, we get rid of Winks. We get him back. That's like a new signing, right? We get money for Winks. We bring him back for free. It's the same thing for what's his name, Sessegnon. We get him back. Ben Davies, see you later. Yeah. Right, that's two signings there.
I don't actually think Jose will get rid of Ben Davies.
I don't think he will. Do you know what? Jose, as sad as it is to say, he loves him. He loves Ben Davies.
He does. I think he likes the idea of a more defensive left-back option. But for me, I think he's so bad going forward that people just think he's better defensively.
Yeah, that's true. But do you know what? Yeah, he did well yesterday when he came on. He did very well.
Yeah, I had to swallow my pride on that one. As soon as he came on, I was sending him not abuse. But like I was my heart sank.
I know what you mean.
Davies. And then someone, I can't remember who it was tweeting, was like, all you Davies haters, can you show some respect? However, bit of a disclaimer, they did take off Traore. Like, I think if Traore had stayed on, they would have gone down that side of it. Yeah, because they brought who was on fake Trezeguet, wasn't it? He was playing there, and like he comes a bit more central. So Højbjerg was picking him up quite easily. So Davies had a bit of a free pass, but give him credit. He did a good enough job. But again, it's one of them ones where you can't change too many players. If you've got too many of them, if you've got Davies, Sanchez, and Winks on, our team just looks so flat. And that's why I'm loving it now, in the sense that we're now only going to play one game a week, hopefully. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
That's a good point.
We're in a situation where we don't have to rotate, hopefully. Like, these men better know, like, this is it. Like Højbjerg said, we got 8 cup finals left. Let's go for it. Do you know what I mean?
And this is the thing, like, I mean, we now need to kind of get the best squad together. Do you know what? I reckon Jose is putting it together now, because I reckon Jose knows, right, this is the last 8 games. We've got the cup final April. I reckon Jose is going into their ears and he's trying to work out who Who can he realistically get together on side and just try and go for it this season? We all know who the main guys are, right? It's Kane, it's Son, it's Lucas. We need Son back ASAP. It's Kane, Son, Lucas, Højbjerg, and Dombele. When we talk about the bad apples, I think I know who they are, man. I think it's Harry Winks is one of them. Do you know what? I honestly think Serge Aurier is one of them.
Mm.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Harry Winks. I can't remember what game it was last season. There was a game where I remember watching in the Amazon documentary. Harry Winks didn't start the game. Was it last season? It was one game either early this season or last season. Harry Winks didn't start the game. We won the game, big game, and all the celebrations. There was videos of all the celebrations in the changing room. Harry Winks wasn't joining in, and I'm thinking that type of mentality there tells me that because he wasn't in the squad, he's not happy with that. He wanted to play the game rather than celebrate the result of getting through the next round. I'm pretty sure it was a cup competition. I can't remember. Maybe someone watching knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Eric Dyer did the same thing, to be fair.
Yeah. I saw that. What was that? The Champions League?
No, it was when
he got subbed off for 20 odd minutes or something.
No. You know when Dele Alli scored against Fulham?
Yeah.
There was no celebration from him on the bench. He just sat there, face like a slapped ass. Do you know what? I was saying this the other day on one of my clubhouse rooms, yeah? That bromance that used to be there between Dele and Dyer, I don't reckon they don't like each other. I don't think they like each other.
No. I think Dyer has this kind of thing about you're either with us or not. Ali's obviously gone through his injury problems, right? And we have to remember that Ali's been injured a lot. Hamstring injury every single season. Do you know what I mean? For the past 2-3 years. Then he's had like in and out of the team. He needs, that arm around him, all that kind of stuff, which he may or may not agree with. I don't think someone who's getting paid that much money should have to have that. But let's see, we're all different. We're all different.
For me, it depends on the player, innit?
Oh yeah, but
I get it.
Dele's the type of player where the way Mourinho came in and sort of just said, if you're not good enough, you're not going to play. I think that's how a player like Dele should be treated. If you mollycoddle him too much and too much room to think he's better than he is, that's when he's going to start slacking again. He needs to be told the harsh realities.
Yeah. And you know what? I guess like when I look back to Jose calling him out after that Stoke performance, so a part of me thinks like maybe he needs that. Maybe he needs to be told that. Maybe it's just weird because I remember I was reading. I read Alex Ferguson's biography some time ago. I remember Alex Ferguson was saying one of the best ways he was able to sort of master the whole man management was he knew how to press everyone's buttons. He was that some players need the hair dry treatment, some players need the arm on the shoulder.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have to be able to know what players need what treatment. Some players need a boot thrown in their face on a David Beckham thing. Other players, they need to be given that little extra bit of love and bit of confidence. And I felt like Jose was a man who could tell the difference between players, but I feel like he likes to just give them all the same type of treatment. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. With Dele,
you know what?
He handles right. Dele is the reason for his own downfall.
Do you know what? Yeah, speaking of a player that who I feel needs the arm around the shoulders treatment, Bergwijn. Like, what the hell was that cameo? Oh my goodness.
Okay, can I talk on that? Because obviously the last time I was here, I was Team Stevie Wonder. Right? I was in. I was there. And I got told that I needed to open my eyes, excuse the pun. And I've watched him since, and I'm hurt. Like yesterday, I was literally screaming at like the TV, going, "Come on!" Like I wanted him to score because I partly kind of knew I was coming on here, innit? So I wanted to be like, "Yo, Stevie scored," but now like even just like decision making, it's just it's half a second behind the game. In the Premier League.
Remember when he went down and run down, he's got in the box.
Really, and then he got closer to goal and just ended up
into the keeper.
Yeah, I just like, what are you trying to? And you know what? I look at him, his conditioning is not great. He looks a bit weight. I say weighty. He looks a bit weighty, right? And it's just like when I look at the bench, right, and I look to the players that are going to make an impact. I'm not going to bring him on the pitch. I'm going to bring on Lamela. I'm going to bring on Bale. And those are my 2 forward substitutions. If Kane needs to come off, I'll bring on Vinicius. I'm not going to bring him on the pitch. I'm sorry. From what I saw yesterday, and do you know what, yeah? I was looking at his stats. I was looking at this guy's stats, yeah?
Don't do it.
His stats for PSV, yeah, not even that impressive. Okay, fair enough. Maybe one season, I think he got like something like 12 assists and something, and I think double-figure goals or whatever it was. But then I look at his European figures. 26 games, 2 goals, 3 assists. Forget about it. It's not happening. Like, everyone trying to say give him time, like, it's not happening.
I have to be honest, yeah, with Bergwijn, I was a victim of the compilation. When he joined, I saw him on YouTube. Well, you know what, he looks like a player. You watch him in real life, I'm sure if I even watched him play in PSV, I would have realised him then. He's not it.
And do you know this one analogy that I keep hearing on Twitter is that, oh, he's a defensive winger. What kind of nonsense? What kind of bollocks is that? What is a defensive winger? You're a forward. Your job is to get assists and score goals. Yeah, it's simple as that.
You know what the thing is? People said that because they know Mourinho's system. But our best defensive winger, if you want to use that phrase, is Lucas Moura, because he's 100% up, right? And then he's driving that man, right? He's going straight down the middle or wherever he picks his lane. And yes, it sometimes can be head down and a bit, reckless. But I've actually seen the past few. I think it was a Crystal Palace game. Every time he got on the ball, dangerous. Yesterday, every time he got on the ball, and when it works for him, when he has a good 20 minutes, that's it for the game. He doesn't drop off.
No, and do you know what's really good about him? Do you know what's really good about him? I feel that when he gets that flair and that energy, and he starts running in and closing people down, and also certain times in the midfield, there's no one to pass to. He just drives forward. We really need that. Like people say, but he wins fouls, yeah. And I just feel that when he brings that energy, I think other players feed off it because they know something's about to happen now. Yeah. And I feel that all this season we've been missing that. And when Bergwijn comes out the side, we look how much better. We look so much better. And this whole defensive winger thing,
really old settings, bro. That's what it is.
This defensive thing is sound like something big. It's true. But it's just like he's not really defensive. He covers the spaces well, but at the end of the day, what happens when you're defending? You get the ball back, then you need to counter. It needs to be quick, not the guy. I'm sorry, that performance.
Yeah.
But you know what? Let's go on to the more positive things.
No,
second half.
If we're not seeing goals or assists, I want to at least see key passes, bro. I'm not seeing none of them either.
Bro, I want to see key passes. I want to see taking people. When is he ever? Do you remember in that game, similar situation to the one you was talking about when he got the ball on the left? Vinicius was there with him. Just take the guy on. Sometimes you got to, if that was Lucas, he's beating him by the byline or he's coming inside and he's going to make a chance for somebody else. And the thing is, when Lucas is making these runs, yeah, you have other players joining in the attack. Even Ben Davies was bombing forward when he saw Lucas get.
Lucas created take-ons yesterday. He was on. Same with Tongi. He didn't have the best of games, but bro, his footwork, unbelievable. He was taking man on. He always does. But yeah,
he's nasty.
Absolutely nasty. I want to see more of Lucas from Bergwijn. And I never thought I'd say that. That's why I'm critical of Lucas.
Nah, man. Listen, I always knew he's much better than Bergwijn, man. Like he had a bad season. Do you know what? Yeah, I've changed my mind. I was always saying Lucas is good, but I want us to get rid of him. I don't want us to get rid of him anymore because I look back at Son, yeah, and I look back at how average Son was in his first season. Even his second season, he showed glimpses of brilliance, yeah, but he wasn't a full package. Now Lucas, obviously, first season, 15 goals, yeah, 5 in the Champions League, 10 in the league. He had a bad season. I don't think I'm going to give up on him, I want him in this side. We need his energy. We need that mentality, man. We need this in the squad. And you know what? He's taken us. I wouldn't say he's single-handedly done it because Kane's been brilliant, but we was in the mud, right? And I feel that he's been a shining light to this team.
Yeah, man. There's some gems in there. You got Moura, obviously. playing very well. And like I said, Tanganga, you guys know my position on our right back situation. You got, Serge Aurier, and then you've got number 2, right? The other guy. But, I think Japhet is the best one out of the lot. He's not a classic right back.
Dave said he shall not be named.
I can't do it. I can't give him that respect, sorry. But yeah, all jokes aside, I think Japhet did very well. I did see a couple of flaws. He was tucking in a bit too much, and I think maybe that's to cover for Sanchez. So he was coming a bit narrow, almost like a centre-back would. So I get that. But I feel like moving forward, we've only got, 9 or 10 games left in the season. We know that now. That's it. Do you know what I mean? We've just got the league and the cup final. You play him, right? You play him, get a bit of confidence in there. Give him a bit of confidence ahead of next season, because we know we're not selling him. We're all just going to keep him locked in. And then we go from there, do you know what I mean? And hopefully with a settled backline or a bit more of a confident backline, we can then start killing games off. We can start, picking up the points that we need. Do I think we're going to finish in the top 4? Ask me after the Man United game.
That's a big game now, and this was sort of going to bring me onto the next kind of discussion. Yeah, realistically for you guys, what is the season expectations? Because for me, like, do you know what, the cup final? There's no room for error. Tanganga has to start. Aurier, I don't want to see you. You've been good this season. I don't want to see you. Doherty, I don't want to see him. I don't want to see Sanchez. Yeah, I don't want to see Eric Dyer. That is the match where you cannot make errors with your selection. Yeah, for me, season expectation is I don't want to come here and spout negativity, but I don't expect us to win that match. I expect Man City to win the cup. I don't expect us to get top 4, man, because I don't think it looks great. We're only 3 points off, but you got to look at the form Chelsea are on. We're 8 points behind Leicester. I can't. Yes, Leicester are bottle jobs, but 8 points, and it's not just about them dropping 8 points. It's about us winning the games that they drop points. I don't think we have it in us. So for me, my season expectations, finish either 5th or 6th, get into the Europa League next season. And I have to say it, man. If we don't get top 4, I want a new manager. I know it's like I'm not like gonna come here and start ranting Jose out this and that, but if he doesn't get top 4, I want a new manager. I don't know what you guys' thoughts are.
Before I say my season expectations, I need to address this comment, because this has had me screwing for the last 5 minutes. I need to check out this episode, Daps, because to say Son is carrying...
I think Daps was joking.
Son's been non-existent for the last 6 weeks. Kane, top scorer, top assister. I'm not even going to give this airtime.
Daps was joking.
Bruv, joking or not, I'm not. I shouldn't entertain. But season expectations, like Ash said, I don't want to be negative, but I don't feel like we're going to win the final. But then again, it is a one-off game. Anything can happen. In terms of league position, I don't feel like we'll finish top 4. I'm gonna say 5th. But I'm hearing this season they're creating a Europa League 2. If anyone's played
football, the Europa Conference. Listen,
if anyone's played Football Manager, you know what I'm talking about. If we finish 7th and we're playing the Europa League 2, on my life, I'm supporting San Antonio Spurs. It's a basketball team.
Listen, I am done. I'm done with football. If you ever see my football club play in that flipping Conference League, I'm done. I'm done. Conference League. What, like, do you know what? I need to know. Someone needs to tell me right now. And obviously, I get it depends who wins the FA Cup, but which places are for Europa League? Because if we don't get those, we're finished.
Yeah,
Conference League.
I think we've got to hope for. Again, like you said, players have got to, other clubs got to drop off if we have any hope of getting top 4. It's not in our control. Do you know what I mean? We don't have that 2 games in hand or whatever against bottom feeder clubs that we can just think, okay, right, we're going to win those games. Even though we're still in the mix, I do think 5th probably. The weird thing about the cup final, I'm not saying we're going to win or anything. I just think the weird thing is, if there's one team that we have a real weird juju against, it's Man City, right?
Yeah, do you know what?
We've done that run with Man City when he first came, and then we beat them, 4-1 or something?
We're their bogey team,
It's weird. In the Champions
Yeah,
League, obviously, you had that.
4-1 was incredible. Even Dyer scored from outside the box.
Do you remember
Right.
that? That was one
I mean,
hell of a
it's-
goal.
I'll never
That
forget.
was one hell of a goal.
It's one of them
Right.
things where you just think,
Keeper.
yeah.
What a
So
game.
I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying I want to win, but it's almost like you just go, right, everyone just go and play your best. Do you know what I mean? Like, play your absolute best and see where we're at after 90 minutes or whatever. Yeah.
And then what's your expectations for the league then?
Like I said, I think 5th, but I'm looking at it and I'm saying if the other clubs like your Chelsea's, your Liverpool, whatever, they're playing twice a week. Okay. And in a pandemic season where there's hella injuries, there's loads of weird kind of results and that. I think we just need to make sure, obviously, like I said, keep the rotation down to a minimum. Play your best players, don't make no mistakes in selection, and let's see what happens. I mean, we've got a favourable run.
Stay injury free. Do you know what? This is the big thing now. I do not want to see Harry Kane start any games for England. I want England to win all the games. And do you know what? I love watching England. Yeah, I always do, and especially the qualifiers. But I'll be watching. But I don't want to see Harry Kane start any of those games. Play Calvert-Lewin. Play what's his name? Ollie Watkins. Ollie Watkins. Give him his England debut. He deserves it. He's been great this season. I don't want to see any of us playing. Nathan just had a good comment here. What manager will bring us to the top 4 next year without leaving him breaks? You know what? I said this on Clubhouse, yeah? I think us as Spurs fans now, realistically, what we have to do is we have to lower our expectations going forward. We have to do it. I think we need to realize that there's a rebuilding process that has to be done, yeah? So in terms of getting us back into the top 4 next season, I don't think that should be our realistic target, if I'm honest, because we need to get rid of Deadwood. We need to bring players in. We need to give these players time to gel. Now, here was my issue, right? Rebuilding is not Jose Mourinho's forte. And especially with a shoestring budget like ours, yeah, that's not his forte. Jose's bought in, right? He's bought into clubs where he's got world-class players. And if he hasn't got world-class players in almost every position, he's got a big budget to go and get those, right? This is not his forte. As much as we all want it to work for him. Let's be honest, right? We all want it to work out for him. But this is not his forte. We need someone who comes from a club where the budget is limited, but they get the absolute best out of their players, right? And have them punching above their weight. And for me, there's one man for the job. And that's the man that took Hoffenheim from 17th. Yeah. They finished the season 17th. He took them to their first ever Champions League in history. Yeah. And I don't need to sit here and tell you what he's doing at RB Leipzig. But for me, he's the one. Like, he would be my ideal replacement.
I'll be honest here. Cool, Nagelsmann, I rate his thing. I'm not going to act like I watch the Bundesliga every week. I don't. In my eyes, no one's going to agree with me. I want Graham Potter.
Do you know what? I'm a massive fan of Graham Potter, but I think this job is too soon.
Maybe it is, but for me, I'll take that risk.
But I'm a massive fan of it, man. I look at the way Brighton play, and I just think if Brighton had better forwards, they would be. I reckon if Brighton had better forwards and knew how to finish, they'd be a top 10 side. They'd be better than Leeds, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, they'd be better than Leeds, definitely. You know what? I don't really know which manager I want. I don't watch enough of the other football teams in depth to see, playing style, that kind of thing. But at the same time, or whoever does come in, if we do replace, we do need to, like you said, we have to be realistic. It is a rebuild that is 2.5 years late. So 2.5 years late rebuild. Hence, Sissoko is still at the club. Hence, Winks is not carrying bags. He's trying to carry our midfield. We do need to get these players out quickly. I don't think it's going to happen this year because of the pandemic. And it's not even, we can't even blame the board in that respect. Like, I do not actually think the clubs where you would be going, all right, yeah, give us 20 million for him and give us 25 for him. They're going to be looking at, well, can we get him for 15? And you know what? We know what they're going to leave. Like, he ain't going to be doing it, you know what I mean? So he'd rather keep them and try to work with it. But that's
the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing. And just a quick, Nathan Turner said Son's going to play for Korea. He's not. I think Korea have. No. I think I read today that Korea have excluded him. But yeah, Sebastian says someone like Poch, someone who overachieves with a shoestring budget and gets average players to play good football. I look at our attack. Listen, yes, Jose's been burnt by some of these players, but at the end of the day, you've got to look at our team, right? We don't play to our strengths. We've got players like Bale, Son, Kane, Ndombele, Lucas. We don't play to our strengths. Our strengths are not to sit back. I get it that I get that he feels that some people say that we're lacking in midfield, but at the end of the day, like, we're not playing to our strengths, and we haven't been. We've done it a few times this season, but we haven't done it consistently enough. We need someone that will do that. Graham Potter's a good suggestion. My only fear is it too soon for him?
Yeah.
Frank Lampard, get out of here.
Not a chance. I feel like my man only got the Chelsea job because he's a club legend.
He's a legend. Oh yeah.
Nothing I saw in his time at Chelsea made me think he's a good manager.
Yeah, on a budget, he did well in a season that was cut short and affected by Corona and Leicester bottling it. And then when he got a budget and he got 220 million, he was still trying to force Werner into a weird role, picking the wrong players. They had no ideas out of just one plan, no plan B. Fat Frank. No, we don't need that.
I think
let's see what happens. The rebuild needs to get done.
Yeah, do you know what? It's like I said, we've got, as fans, we've got to lower expectations. It's going to be a painful rebuild. And another difficult thing is, as much as we sit here and say, Dyer out, Sanchez out, get rid of Sissoko, get rid of Winks, it's not going to be that easy this season, because you look at Eric Dyer, for example, right? He just signed a new contract last year. The guy's on 120 grand a week. Right. First of all, you got to find someone that's going to want to buy Eric Dyer. Second of all, usually we would think that clubs that want to buy Eric Dyer now are probably going to be towards the bottom half of the table. Those clubs are not going to be paying him anywhere near 120 grand. So if Spurs can accept a bid from someone, but if he doesn't agree personal terms, then he has to stay at the club. The Spurs cannot get rid of him unless he agrees personal terms. So I think this summer, Eric Dyer is not going nowhere. I hate to say it, but we've got to be realistic. Eric Dyer is not going anywhere, right? It's just reality. Harry Winks will probably go. Sanchez will probably go. Do you know who else I reckon is gone? I reckon Aurier is going to go. And I reckon you might see, because you've got to look at Aurier's contract, right? He's got 1 year left this summer. I'm not sure if the club are going to renew it. I think they're going to get. I think if PSG come, they'll probably try and get a deal. I think Sissoko is going to be a difficult one to get rid of as well. So I think realistically, we could probably see 4 players leave, maybe 3 to 4 players leave, and whatever money we can get from that is what happens. And then, like I said, it depends if someone comes in for Kane. I mean, if someone comes in for Kane with the money, Levy's taking it. If someone comes in with 120 mil, he will consider it. And obviously, for me, if we don't finish in the top 4, I think Kane will ask to leave. Whether he'll get the leave, I don't know, but he will definitely ask.
If Kane decides to stay, he's too loyal for his own good. As much as I'd appreciate that. Thanks for watching. Yeah,
thanks, Nathan, mate.
Hopefully Dyer gets some playtime against San Marino and them and a lesser team.
I don't want. Listen,
wants to pick him
I support England in it. I don't want to see Dyer on the pitch. We need to qualify.
I don't really support England, so I'm happy to see Dyer play.
Listen, we need to qualify for that tournament ASAP. Do not start Dyer.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It will look good against San Marino. It will look good against. Well, actually, no.
Yeah, and do you know what? Like, do you know what? In terms of like the way this kind of season's sort of coming into play, I think international breaks come at the right time. Let's get our players back injury free, and let's take every game as a cup final, like you said.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, I think we should wrap it up there. Dave, thanks again, man. Pleasure as always.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe to the Never a Foul YouTube channel. And yeah, we'll probably be back in 2 weeks. Next game is Newcastle. Listen, they are
3 points.
Newcastle are dog shit. They're one of the worst teams in the league. We need to go there, box them off the park. They've got nothing. They've got absolutely nothing. Yeah, that should be a win. And then listen, let's go into the Man United game with confidence. But yeah, guys, thanks a lot, man. Take care. Have a good night. Take care, guys.
Thank you again, Dave.
Catch you in a bit, man.